Hi everybody, before we get to the chapter that I ask you to read for this week, which is chapter 7, I wanted to say a little bit about chapter 6, in which Franklin discusses the problem of enhanced control. So the problem of enhanced control is kind of an important problem, and we've already touched on it a lot. But the reason why I've decided that we won't talk about chapter 6 in detail is that I feel like Franklin's solution to the problem of enhanced control doesn't really add a lot of new stuff. But at least I wanted to briefly go over it so you know what Franklin says. So here's the problem of enhanced control. So it arises for libertarian theories about free will. So libertarians think that an agent in a deterministic universe does not have enough control over her actions to have free will. So deterministic agent lacks the kind of control over their actions that she would need to have free will. But of course, the libertarian thinks that an agent in an indeterministic universe does have free will. So since the agent in the indeterministic world does have free will, she must have more control over her actions than the person in the deterministic universe. But then the question is, how can a person in an indeterministic universe have more control over her actions than an agent in a deterministic universe? And this problem arises in particular because people usually think that indeterminism wouldn't enhance control. If at all, people think that indeterminism would take away control. So take here the deterministic universe where my reasons determine my decision and then my decision determines my actions. But suppose one of these two links, either this one here or this one here, were actually indeterministic. Then it seems I would have less control because my reasons now would no longer determine the decision that I have most reason to perform, but it's up to chance that could lead to this decision or another decision. And similar, my decision is now no longer guaranteed to lead to the action that I've actually chosen. It could lead to a different action, and that again would take control out of my hand and move it towards indeterminism. So there's this problem of how can an agent in an indeterministic universe have more control than an agent in a deterministic universe? Because on the face of it, it seems like she would have less control. And so Franklin discusses two proposals. The first is a proposal which is very frequent in the literature, but which Franklin thinks is not a good proposal. And that is the proposal that agent causation enhances control. So consider an agent in an indeterministic universe. Suppose Sister is Jones and she tries to decide between which of two elite universities she wants to attend. Does she want to go to Yale or does she want to go to Harvard? And suppose her decision making is indeterministic, such that there's a 70% chance that her reasons will cause her to go to Yale, and there's a 30% chance that her reasons will cause her to go to Harvard. And now people who like this proposal think that, the mere fact that the decision is indeterministic doesn't enhance control, but they think to get enhanced control, we have to appeal to agent causation. And we talked about agent causation in the very first lecture, in the very first week, and that's the idea that humans are somehow these irreducible entities. I'm like a substance, an agent, and when I make a decision, what causes me to make that decision are not my mental states, but it's the fact that I'm an agent. The agent itself causes the decision. So according to this theory, an agent in a deterministic indeterministic world has enhanced control because indeterminism makes room for agent causation. So the fact that my choice is not yet determined leaves room for the idea that the agent herself could cause either the decision to go to Yale or the decision to go to Harvard. And so according to this proposal, indeterminism is not itself something that enhances control, but it indirectly enhances control because it makes room for agent causation, and then agent causation enhances control. But as you already know, Franklin doesn't like agent causation. He subscribes to agency reductionism, where there is no agent causation, so he doesn't think that agent causation enhances control. And his reason for why he thinks that agent causation doesn't enhance control is that he thinks that agent causation is compatible with determinism. So he thinks if this scenario here, there's a 70% chance to decide in favor of Yale and a 30% chance to decide in favor of Harvard, if that is compatible with the agent causing the decision, then agent causation should also be compatible with a scenario where the number here is 1 and the number here is 0, where there's a 100% chance that the person decides in favor of Yale and a 0% chance that she decides in favor of Harvard. If agent causation is compatible with indeterminism, where the chances are different from 1 and 0, it should also be compatible with determinism, where the chances are either 1 or 0. So this scenario, according to Franklin, is equally compatible with the agent causing the decision. And so since agent causation is compatible both with determinism and indeterminism, it couldn't explain why agents in an indeterministic universe have more control than agents in a deterministic universe. And that leads us to proposal 2, which is Franklin's own proposal, and that's the idea that opportunities enhance control. So according to Franklin, and that traces back to his no opportunity argument that we talked about, if the case here is deterministic, such that Jones's reasons and mental states determine that she will decide in favor of Yale, then according to Franklin, that's still compatible with Jones also having the ability to decide in favor of Harvard. After all, she's like a rational agent who can consider reasons and make decisions based on reasons, so she has the ability to decide to go to Harvard, but she doesn't have the opportunity to go to Harvard, because according to Franklin, you only have the opportunity to do something if doing so is compatible with the actual past and the actual laws of nature. And given determinism, the past and the laws of nature determine her to go to Yale. However, according to Franklin, in a world where Jones's decision is indeterministically caused by her reasons, she does have the opportunity to go to Harvard. So note that Franklin thinks that's only the case if Jones is a rational agent, if she has the ability to make decisions based on reasons. So if that is the case, and her reasons indeterministically cause her decisions, then according to Franklin, Jones also has the opportunity to go both to Harvard and Yale, so she has the opportunity to make two different decisions, plus she's a rational agent, and according to Franklin, this then means that she actually has more control than an agent in a deterministic universe. So the reasons why I think that solution is somewhat unsurprising is that there's this initial worry that indeterminism takes away your control rather than enhances it. And so we would expect some kind of surprising account of how indeterminism enhances control in some kind of unforeseen way. But then all we seem to get from Franklin is simply that, oh yeah, if indeterminism is true, two different decisions are possible, so the agent has more control because it can choose among two different options. So I'm curious what you think about this. I mean, my main worry is that, well, it sounds very plausible if you describe it this way. Jones has the opportunity to do this, and she has the opportunity to do this. But of course, the decision is governed by chances. So there's a 70% chance she will do this and a 30% chance that she will do that. And in this sense, it's not really up to her which decision she will make. It depends just on the chances, and it's not up to her how the chances will play out. And if that is true, you might think she doesn't really have control, because what the decision really depends on is how the chances play out. But I mean, that's a kind of deep disagreement where people like Franklin, who are sympathetic to libertarianism, will think, oh yeah, indeterminism clearly enhances control. And someone who's a bit more critical of libertarianism like me will think, oh no, the agent has no freedom here to do something. It only depends on the chances. And so I'm interested what do you think, but it's important to note that Franklin doesn't have any kind of novel solution to the problem of enhanced control. He just thinks, yes, given indeterminism, we have more control. So that's all I wanted to say about this, and I'll see you soon back in lecture 2, where we will talk about chapter 7.